This is Ditch Diggers Season 7, brought to you by our sponsor, Scribophile.
Ditch Diggers appear and ain't no wannabes here with some not so nice advice for your writing career. To be clear, no punches will be pulled, but the punch may be spiked how they like before they get on the mic. To my left we got the mighty Mer Lafferty, and if I piss her off, believe me, she'll come after me. And her co-host Matt Evan Wallace on the right. Yes, she may be half as hype as she can take him in a fight. So settle in, folks, buckle in and boot up. Time to meddle in a way to make you writer shut up. It's hard work, but the perk is that it's fun and exciting. Facebook will still be there when you're done writing. Ditch Diggers! Ditch Diggers!
Welcome to Ditch Diggers, live streaming. Matt unfortunately couldn't make it today, and so I thought, again, if I do this, it's going to be, if I do it by myself, it's just going to be me doing I Should Be Writing with swearing, and nobody wants that. So I grabbed a whole bunch of my friends last minute and said, hey, you want to be on Ditch Diggers? And T. Kingfisher, a.k.a. Ursula Vernon, a.k.a. winner of all the awards this year, said, I'm driving, but sure. So, from the wilds of Maryland, Ursula is in her car and talking with us live on Ditch Diggers. So, hey, Ursula.
Hey, Mer. Hey, everybody at Ditch Diggers. I am, calling from my truck. I am on Highway 50 West, I think, and since we should hit Washington traffic fairly soon, I will have plenty of time to sit and talk to you.
Yay.
And, I'm in Maryland, which is not my usual stomping grounds because I was on a rescue mission for my buddy Liz, who is in the passenger seat. Hello.
Hello, friend Liz.
Yes, her Winnebago suffered a minor catastrophic meltdown.
How is minor and catastrophic at the same time?
It might be minor. The engine seized, but that's minor, right?
I mean, multiple belts were in multiple pieces on the road, but
minor. It'll be fine. Getting a Winnebago serviced is difficult because it's sort of a specialty thing. So rather than have Liz sitting around cooling her heels at hotel room rates for up to 2 weeks, I drove up to pick her up and take her back to North Carolina, where she can cool her heels at house guest rates, which consist of, Liz, will you please go to fast food? We're very tired.
All right, well,
great housemate.
Live-in Grubhub delivery driver.
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And I bet you don't gouge the actual restaurants when you do that.
No, the actual restaurants get full price.
Honestly, everybody wins.
Yeah.
Well, I also heard from Diana Rowland that she could make it.
The legendary Diana.
The legendary, yes. If I can just get her email right. So we're going to have just like a little hangout talk thing. And I do actually have some things to talk about. I'm proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too, Merv.
Thank you.
I'm proud to be your friend.
So while I'm trying to get Diana on, why don't you tell us about the Dragon Awards?
The Dragon Awards are awards given out at DragonCon. And they have kind of a complex history.
You're so diplomatic. I love it.
What was that?
You're so diplomatic. I love it.
Yes. Following the great Hugo sad puppy fiasco of a few years back, they decided to pick up their ball and go home. And by that, they meant they would make their own award, damn it, with blackjack and hookers. Sorry, that's a Futurama joke, and it just occurred to me some of you are probably too young to have gotten that, and now I'm sad. But
well, I feel guilty. I never watched Futurama, so I didn't get it.
Oh yeah. So the problem is that administering awards, as it turns out, is difficult and requires a lot of administrative grunt work and people running, voting things and sending out mailings on time and so forth. So I want to say Eric Flint took over a lot of it, who is an author. And so after like the first year when it was, we give awards to, all the people we wish to honor, then it became it became gradually, let us say, less partisan and became open to a popular vote, and people, and ballots would go out more or less, and you could nominate, and the Dragons specifically encourage people to ask for votes and to promote themselves online as Vote for Me in the Dragon Awards and whatnot, which is a thing I would probably have done if I had remembered the Dragon Awards were happening, but I've had a lot of stuff going on, and also was en route to Maryland when they came through. So anyway, so gradually the flavor of the awards, I want to say, has become much more in line with a popular vote award. Scalzi won one year, and
which is really funny.
Last year. What?
Scalzi winning is kind of funny, considering how
if you don't follow science fiction politics, and God, why would you? John Scalzi is basically the emblem of everything that the reactionary right hates, which is funny because if you've met Scalzi, he's... The problem is he writes military sci-fi and is also fairly liberal, and this makes some people's tiny minds explode, so go figure. Anyway, and so it's a perfectly respectable award, and I am honored and flattered to have won for Best Horror Novel and Best Young Adult, which was a surprise.
The Young Adult was a surprise, really?
No, the Young Adult was the one that I was not exactly... I mean, I'm not saying I was surprised. I'm not saying, of course I knew I'd win it or anything like that, because I'm not an asshole. But, awards are always... It's entirely what people like. But, honestly, I thought they'd give horror to The Only Good Indians, which has swept all the horror categories this year, and rightly so.
Right.
And so I was enormously flattered that the Hollow Places won it. Yeah, so.
Well, congrats. I do want to say that we now have Diana Rowland on the line. Diana from the recently rolled over by Ida state of Louisiana, but hopefully you're doing okay, Diana.
Yeah, we were really lucky. I had one of my neighbor's trees snap off and graze an outbuilding of mine and took off a whole 3 shingles. So,
oh wow!
I did have to pay $500 to get someone to take said, cut said tree up, but that was actually cheap compared to what many other people have been having to do. Sorry,
yeah.
I was running around in my house trying to get ready.
No, Diana also hopped up at last minute and said she would help me out with the stream, which was just amazing and kind. I find it, Ursula and I have a history of this where usually it's me asking you for, I don't know if you've ever asked me for a favor, Ursula, but when I was...
asked you to take care of the car when we went to Botswana.
Yes, I took care of your car. It sat in my driveway, and I fed it twice a day and petted it and told it that you would come back. It was a lot of work. Anyway,
a ride to the airport at 4 in the morning is asking a lot,
Anyway, it's still, when I was writing the second book in the Shambling Guide series, I wanted to write about Boston, because I had a big idea about the Big Dig, and how to do a Rat Queen, and why the Rat Queen made the Big Dig so long and expensive. I had a whole thing played out. And then my British editor said, we don't care about Boston. And part of me wonders if they're really still pissed off about that whole tea thing. but they honestly did not consider Boston a city interesting enough for an international audience. And so I'd already planned a trip to Boston to do research, and I'm like, well, my husband wanted to go to Boston, so I guess we'll still go, but I need a new city. So New Orleans was going to be book 3, so I figured I could do my plan for book 3 on book 2, and then I needed to see what New Orleans was all about. So at last minute, Ursula agreed to just do a road trip with me down there and stay for a couple of days and go through as many adventures as we could as tourists. So this was great because we weren't trying to see the real New Orleans, because we were trying to look at it from a tourism point of view, because it was a book about tourist monsters. So I didn't even have to worry about the authenticity of the vampire tour we took of the French Quarter, which was epic. And we've told the story several times, so I won't go into it, but just know that the guy tried to tell us very solemnly that Dracula was written by Bram Stoker. So, yeah. Anyway, so Ursula was my companion and co-driver then, and yeah, so now you're pitching in to help me, and Diana, being in Louisiana, has a connection there too. But Diana was outside walking her dog, and that's all I'll say, when I asked her for help, and we were pointing out that, well, you're living the glamorous writer's life right there.
So glamorous. I'm watching my dog. I wish she would do a bodily function.
Yeah.
She's not.
Are you still out there with her?
Oh, yeah, it's easier out here. It's like she's chewing up leaves and sticks, and of course we have a million of those out.
Sure.
And in the background, you might be able to hear the sound of chainsaws, because everything's being chopped up and cut up. They're starting to haul stuff away. It's very romantic. It's a romantic setting, I tell you what. But,
it is. I hear that.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I will actually say, by the way, speaking of going and doing the tourist things, I am a huge believer in tourist things, because I've known lots of people from tourist towns, basically, and tourism is great. You are seeing the part of them that they want you and allow you to see. I feel sometimes like the drive for authenticity gets a little show me your guts to people who have not necessarily consented to that. Like, I am perfectly happy. Like, I am a guest. I am showing up, spending money. You show me what it is you want me to see. I will put money into the tourist economy. I am here to, generally be a good-natured buffoon.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, because the vacations are supposed to be, fun and interesting. It's like, you don't want to be there like, okay, this is the part we're going to tell you about the garbage man strike. It's like, oh, no, it's okay. Yeah.
That is all extremely important, but my experience is with people who are from there is usually like, will you just go to the damn tourist quarter and stop, trying to make this a thing?
Yeah.
And this comes up because I travel internationally reasonably often to area. I went to Tibet for a month a couple of years ago, and I don't want to, I am a stranger and a guest in these people's home. Let me just be a well-mannered guest who does not go poking and prying into things where they don't necessarily want me. I am not going to insist we have an authentic connection. You can just tell me the beads and lie about where the amber's from, and I will give you money, and everyone will be happy.
Excellent.
I'm a firm believer in social lies to lubricate society as needed.
That's a good point.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are talking on Ditch Diggers today. Believe it or not, we were talking about... I did have a small plan, which is tools other than shovels. If you're new to Ditch Diggers, or you're following because you're a fan of Ursula's or Diana's, we talk more about the business side of writing, what you need to worry about. Once you've got the craft down and you're making some money, there's a whole bunch of other stuff to worry about. And we do this to say ditch diggers can't get ditch digger block, surgeons can't get surgeon block, and writers can't afford to get writer's block. So Hi, Tasha. Welcome in. We are talking to Diana Rowland and T. Kingfisher, as aka Ursula Vernon, and I'm just about to put Diana's book cover on the stream, so I'm late at that. But so one thing I want to talk about is I've realized I found a bunch of tools in the past year that I'm spending money on, and I'm trying to figure out if they're worth it or not. And the first one is called Canva, Canva, and it's got a free version, but I learned really quickly that the paid version, I think it's between 10 and 15 a month, I think. And that's like a graphic design program. And it's hard to explain because it's so beautifully created, where it has tons of templates, only you can put things in and take things out. Every single image on the made-up template is modifiable. And so, oh, of course. Wow. I have a call I absolutely have to take, and I'm going to leave it to y'all to either hang out or, yeah.
We got this.
Yeah. Really sorry, guys.
Tools that people use. Well, obviously, I think of like Word and Scrivener immediately. I know some people who love Scrivener with the burning passion of 1,000 Suns. I am hearing rock music, and so Scrivener, when I use it, it's good for laying out anthologies. It does not actually work with how I write a book. It does work for nonfiction work.
Yeah, I tried Scrivener before. It didn't really work with me. I write out of order. I mean, I do pretty strong. I outline, and then it's like, if I'm feeling this scene, I'll go write that scene. And then I'll be like, okay, let me go right at the beginning. Oh, wait, that scene where they do the thing? Let me at least lay out some of the bones for that. And then it'll inform other things. So I have chaotic writing that people have a hard time grasping, but it works for me. And basically every chapter gets a different Word file, and I have my own organizational method and all that. But also keep a spreadsheet and update that as much as possible. So the basics for me have worked really well. It's like Word. I have the Word that updates uploads automatically. I'm blanking on the name of it. Yeah, I have Dropbox, and also the latest Word version, OneDrive. That's it. Where it's saves as you're going, which is great. And there's version control, and you can check old things. So that shit's wonderful. And then I also, of course, save the Dropbox, and because I am paranoid. but yeah,
save the Dropbox, people.
Yeah. And so my tools are kind of the old-fashioned ones, like the upgraded old-fashioned ones, and they work for me. But again, it's all about what works for you. Oh, and sticky notes, all the sticky notes. I have a problem with sticky note purchasing. You can never have too many sticky notes. You can never have enough different colors of sticky notes. You can never have enough sizes of sticky notes. When I die, I'm going to...
I just handed in, the heroine learns has her terrible fears confirmed by reading the sticky notes that her mother has left all over the house for herself.
Yeah, I'm waiting for someone to come in and try and interpret my sticky notes, and they'll be like, wow, this bitch was crazy, shit. So it's like, well, yeah. My daughter will be like, yeah, definitely. So.
Yeah, and I do not, I have one Word doc. Everything is in the Word doc.
Oh, God.
The whole book from beginning to end, and I also write out of order. So basically, my manuscript will be like, I'll write a word scene, and then I'll write the word gap, and go write another chapter or something. And it works for me. Back in the day, I was on a very old, might have been a Mac, when I wrote my first novel, Black Dogs, back in the day, which was very long, because, I started it when I was 16. It was a doorstop fantasy novel.
Of course.
And Word ran so slowly that if I tried to scroll through the entire file, it would break. So what I would do was I put a keyword in that appeared nowhere in the manuscript, so that I could just find that word, and that would take me to like the 1/3 mark, the 2/3 mark.
Oh, that's
And
clever.
the word I chose was squid. And this was fine until many years later when my small press buddies at SoFool decided they were like, hey, we will publish this. We think there's enough interest.
Oh, no.
And and I sent it to them. And a couple weeks later, I get this email from one of them going, okay, we've done, copy edits, or it wasn't a copy edit, we've done an editing pass, but you have the word squid just inserted at random throughout the text. Do you want us to leave that in the book? Is that there for a reason? And I'm like, no.
That's great.
I am breaking into our discussion here because I wanted to give a shout out to our sponsor, Scribophile. A lot of people ask me if I know a way they can start a writer's group or join a writer's group or what to look for in a writer's group or beta readers or whatever. And I work alone a lot, so I don't really have an answer for that. But then I found out about Scribophile, and it's exactly where people want to be. It's, you can upload your stuff, you can get detailed critiques from other people, you can find beta readers, you can help other people out by giving them critiques. It's been endorsed by Writer's Digest and NaNoWriMo and, what else do I recognize? Predators and Editors, and has made several lists of 100 best websites for writers. There is a free membership and a paid membership, and I recommend you check it out because it looks pretty sweet, even on the free level. But thank you for your sponsorship for Scribophile, and if you guys want to check them out, check out scribophile.com, and I'll have that in the show notes. Wow, I came in at a really fun point. I'm sorry I had to run away, guys, but it sounds like y'all carried it just fine.
Yeah, we're talking about the old school. Yeah. I'd like it, and sticky notes. And
yeah.
And of course, one of the other essentials, at least for me, is spiral notebooks. I go through a dozen for each book, and but you can never have too many spirals. Back to school sales are my crack.
Yeah.
And I load up. I probably have like 30 good spiral notebooks that are waiting to be used. And I'm picky. They have to have like a hardish cover so they don't go all floppy, college ruled. And if they have one of those little pocket things in there, too, that's great. So, yeah.
I'm so impressed by people who can actually write like longhand. Like I will go out of my way not to physically write anything. So if I write notes to myself, I pull up notes on my iPad or something. But I would never write notes down physically unless there was a gun to my head.
Well, with my issues, I can't write longhand because my writing is awful. My handwriting's awful. But when it comes to taking notes, I can't do that while typing. For some reason, if I'm brainstorming and just writing lists or ideas or whatever, it's got to be longhand. And I just hope I can read it when I'm done.
Oh, I'm the same. I mean, my handwriting is absolutely horrific. And there have been many times when I've gone back and go, I have no idea what I said. I bet that was the brilliant thing that would have made me a millionaire. And now I'm just screwed. Damn it. Oh,
yeah.
Well.
Yeah. So yeah, I was telling Ursula about something. Oh, that's right.
Canva.
Yeah, well, there's Canva. Yeah, it's just for someone like me who has no graphic design sense at all. It's really, really useful because it's got so many elements, and you can upload your own stuff. So I can get like if you look at Ursula's, if you're watching this live, if you look at Ursula's cover, you've got like trees, and then you've got the twisted ones and other words written in sort of a less focused font that's color, like gray, and then you've got a much brighter gray for the title, twisted ones. I can see on Canva where that would be the different how to layer that, how to make the stuff in the back look all creepy and muted, and the stuff in the front be brighter, and how to get a good font that doesn't look like you just thought Comic Sans was still a good idea, or Papyrus. And if you're someone like Ursula, you can start with a blank canvas and then use whatever elements they have, or if you're like me, you can take an existing template and then switch everything out, including the colors, and put your own stuff in, and it looks completely different, which has made me feel a lot more confident with making Instagram posts or covers for my podcasts or whatever.
So you're using it for podcast covers then? Because I was sort of wondering, because I know you don't self-publish a lot of stuff these days, so...
Oh, I might if I do self-publish and you or our friend Daniel are otherwise occupied, I would not feel so scared to make the cover myself now.
And there's a lot to be said. Like, even though I am in fact an artist, art and graphic design are two wildly different skills. Liz,
yes.
Back me up on this. 100%. Yeah, there are people will ask me to do a logo, and I'm like, no. Logos are somebody else's thought. I can, both this side, we can draw you a realistic chicken or a cartoon chicken. We can't make a good chicken logo. That's somebody else. That's another skill set. Daniel can make a good chicken logo. I mean, for lack of
I'll tell him you said that.
Like, it's almost like left brain, right brain skills, because graphic design requires a lot more line and balance and text and like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you got to understand customers and where they will look first on the cover, and where you want the eye to be drawn and all that stuff. Yeah.
And when I lay out covers for my stuff, I go through like 10 iterations of font and ideas. I will do perfectly good covers and throw them out and be like, nope, this is not going to work. And I sit there in Photoshop and have made myself nuts on more than one occasion with it. So
yeah, but you do your own covers. You do a lot. You do a lot of hybrid publishing where you put out stuff with Tor and Saga, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that wasn't hybrid. That was.
No. I'm saying that's the one half of it, and then you do your own stuff, which you do all the designing for.
Yep. And Argyle Press handles all the print versions, which I appreciate. But I do the covers and whatnot, and then
right.
send them files. And it's so I guess Photoshop is another tool there. And it's you spend, and then you get the day where you spend in the font mines, where no matter what happens, the font you have for the cover is wrong. It is not what you need. You need to go spend, like 8 hours looking at fonts and tearing your hair out, and you wind up with 5 new fonts, and one of them may or may not work.
Ursula, there's a question in chat. Ask Ursula about her font hunts.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You about once every 6 months or so, I will basically say on Twitter, I'm going into the font mines, people. And I go. The last time I was looking for a font, I ended up designing my own. That is how bad it got.
Wow.
Yeah, well, a great tool called like iFont Maker. Liz, can you look up on here and tell me what the name of the thing is?
Yes.
It's iOS, I believe, is what it works on. It works great on iPad. It's what page is it on? I don't know. Just scroll there.
iFont Maker, yes.
iFont Maker, and it is as dirt simple as making a font can be. I made my own handwriting font, basically.
Wow.
And it's great. Like, you can go as complex as you want. You can get in there and fiddle around with ligatures and things, but it makes it so easy. And so that was awesome. But that is a level of geekery that you probably don't need to get to if you're writing a book.
But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the tools. Sorry, go ahead, Diana.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say that if I did my handwriting font, it'd be like, what the hell is this? No one would ever be able to read it. It's like, oh, it's squiggles. It's what? I don't know. Huh? So yeah.
Well, the thing is that it works so because, since you're doing each letter individually, each letter you can usually make more or less legible. So what comes out becomes fairly legible.
Yeah, you say that. You haven't seen my handwriting.
I mean, mine's no great shakes either. But
So yeah, I absolutely endorse Canva. They are not sponsoring me, but if you have a lot of graphic design to do, or you just want to make something look good, it's definitely worth the 15 or so bucks. The thing I'm not sure is worth it is I'm paying monthly for Videvo, Videvo, which is just little clips of videos. So, I can have a little girl blowing out a birthday cake, or one of my favorites. I never really found a use for it, but I did have a button on my Stream Deck for a little while that had a white woman crying, and so that was going to be my mocking sort of oh so sad kind of thing, and just change the image, all the video, just to this big face of a white woman weeping. But never found use for it. But it's helpful it was helpful in the holidays, because I normally use a green screen when I'm streaming. I didn't, since I put up, if you're listening to this later.
Pick a lane, asshole.
Reminder, Ursula is driving at the moment.
Through Washington, D.C.
Oh dear, bless your heart.
Yes, we're very glad to have you with us, even during this time of stress. But yeah, I usually I recently put up little bookshelves behind my head so I could show books, even though you probably can't see them because they're tiny. But anyway, I was working on that, so I took the green screen down. But when I have the green screen up, I like to have some sort of dynamic background, and Videvo is good for that. But I'm paying monthly, and sometimes I just need to wonder if I should just go try to make a plan of what I need in the next year and go and download all of them. And I know there's a limit, but there's a limit of 100 or something. So if you're a real media professional, you're going to reach that in a month. But I don't think so. But so I'm trying to figure out if, having a fun thing on my green screen is worth that much money every month. And again, it's again like Canva, where it's less than 15. It is at most 15. I think it might be 13. But anyway, I wanted to ask you guys, with the money you might spend on your careers.
Well, I think it's okay to spend some money in writing on stuff that you just enjoy. I mean, because this job can eat you up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the silly stuff I think is important, the fun and whimsical stuff, because God knows there's not that much of it. Yeah, it's okay, I'm going to go through and, do all these things. I have this weird thing where my assistant and I will go through and find pictures for every character in the book. And it's we'll search the internet. It's oh, this is Bryce and this is Jill. And we'll have this slideshow. And it's just fun. It doesn't actually help with anything, but it's fun. And it's a nice break for when I'm tearing my hair out. And other things. So I think it's okay to have whimsical stuff. I mean, as long as it's not super, super expensive or anything like that. But yeah, or if you can afford it, go for it. If it makes you happy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The writing, it's the fun hobby stuff as opposed to the required professional stuff, though, because you don't need this to write or sell a book or anything. It's just it's cool.
Yeah. Well, it's I remember when I was first coming up as a baby writer who, I'd gone through Clarion West and I hadn't really sold much of anything, and I went to Worldcon and it was no, the writers don't cosplay, and I was oh. And I was so sad because I used to cosplay. Now writers will still cosplay, and it's I think that's really cool. But back then it's no, we are serious. I'm well, that sucks. So, but yeah, I think you got to hold on the joy that you have in science fiction, fantasy, horror, and all that from the very beginning. So,
writers don't do cosplay. That's bullshit.
Right? Thank you.
So Diana, you mentioned something that I've been toying with. You said you have an assistant, and that is another tool with which we can work on our writing careers. I had an assistant this summer, and then they decided to screw me and go off to college. I mean, can you believe it?
That asshole!
I know. So
did you give birth to this assistant by chance?
Yeah?
I was just curious.
Okay.
We can't all make our own assistants like that.
I did not make her with the concept that, in 19 years, she'll be able to do the heavy lifting on my email or something. But, she did a lot of social media stuff for me. She did my stream moderation and did a lot of my art. And now she's off to school, and what she can do for me is much more limited because she's going to classes. And I'm thinking, how do you find an assistant, and what do you ask of them?
Well, my assistant has been my friend for, almost 25 years. And so, she knows the books as well as I do. And, she's great, brainstorming, figuring stuff out. She's damn near co-writer in some ways. She does a lot of my editing for me. But basically, we were friends. We've been friends forever. So, yeah, I'm not sure that would help other people. It's go back in time, get your best friend, okay?
Yeah.
And then get them cooked on your books. There you go.
How about continuity? Do they help with the continuity?
Oh, God, yes. They're the ones, my sister was the one who keeps track of spreadsheets and stuff like that. Helps make sure the style sheets are okay. Basically, it's a second brain, and it's fantastic. It's really great. Comes up with some terrific ideas, helps me brainstorm stuff. Brainstorm stuff together. We'll have Zoom calls where it's okay, what's going to go on with this theme? And it's what are we going to do? It's okay. So it's good. It's a partnership in a lot of ways.
So, but to find one, you got to go back in time. What were you saying, Ursula?
Yeah. I have a couple of friends who have offered to do some assistant work, and the problem is I'm never sure what to have them do, because about the only thing I can think of is will you triage my email? And there's, I am not yet at the point where I am famous enough that I have to. I think it was Neil Gaiman who said he realized at some point he had become a person he wasn't a person who wrote books, he was a person who answered email.
Yeah.
So he hired someone to answer the email and went back to writing books. I am not quite at that stage yet, so I'm okay, you take 20 minutes a day to, filter my junk mail and reply to a couple of things. When I was a children's book author, primarily, it would have been, I could have used one a lot more back then because I had to answer so much fan mail. And I felt terrible about not answering, these very earnest handwritten letters. And, but what I did, and this is a thing, if you ever find yourself as a children's book author, for the love of God, do this. Go to Cafe Press or something, get postcards printed with your book cover and fun fact and thanks for writing. Then you can just sign them and send them back. It's great. It acknowledges they wrote you, and you don't have to
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Very smart. So do you've had a lot of people offer to help you, and I know you pretty much have a stable of weird scientists that follow you online, and whenever you need to ask a question about frogs or earwigs, or I'm not going to say hyenas because you already know every goddamn thing about hyenas, and I don't want to talk about it, even though every time I bring it up, it's me bringing it up and not you.
Which I really do think you've learned by now.
I would learn by now, but let's go back to the earwigs. I believe that is probably Lee. Hang on, that's probably one of Diana's neighbors taking care of detritus from the hurricane. So, yeah, someone was asking if that was a sander or a saw or something.
Oh, yeah, chainsaws.
Yes. Anyway. Yeah. So go on, Ursula. Don't talk about hyenas.
Yeah, I have. Oh, you want to hear about the hyenas now? The fact I always bring up about hyenas is that the females have very large erectile clitorises. They're larger than the males' penises.
No.
Which means, A, they are, as far as we can tell, the only matriarchy among land carnivores because their junk is bigger than the men. So, you get more in aquatic killer whales and things. carnivores on land. The women are absolutely in charge among the hyenas. And the unfortunate thing, though, is that they have to give birth through them. And it's basically, if you, the birth canal kind of runs right through the middle. And so, you give birth through your dick, more or less. And so as a result, mortality among first-time mothers is high, and among the first offspring, basically, you get right off, which became a plot point in the comic I wrote. And
what kind of comic? Oh my God!
An anthropomorphic comic called Bigger. It went on for ages. And
Oh my God, that's awesome.
The hyenas just assumed their firstborn offspring would always die. And so, anyway, the other cool thing is that because the females are who all the social status passes through, and they have very complex social lives, but your brother is useless to you because you can't breed with him, and he will not provide you with any status. And he will, in fact, leave pack, basically, as soon as he's an adolescent. So as soon as they are born, before their eyes are open, female hyena pups will start trying to kill their brothers because all you are is a competitor for milk. You will never do me any good. And so they're a fascinating species. Anyway, yes,
right.
I went off on this tear once to Joe Hill because Mur led in with it, and much to her chagrin.
Yep.
Yeah, anyway, but yes, I do have a whole cadre of scientists who I am terribly grateful to, who follow me on Twitter. So if I need to do something like, okay, and a lot of times, if they don't follow me, they know who to ask. So they'll be like, I'll be, Twitter, tell me, okay, most recently I was like, Twitter, I need to have a scene where the villain is picking teeth out of an urn of cremated ashes. How many teeth am I likely to have left over after cremation? I know that when you're cremated, incidentally, it doesn't reduce everything to ash. Your bones and your teeth will still have large chunks intact, so they run you more or less through a grinder to reduce everything to a fine sort of ashy powder called cremate. And I was like, okay, so if they get through the grinder, will there be any teeth? And how long ago would this have been? When did they start doing this? And actually, a mortuary report online, lovely person, was DM me, was like, can I just call you and walk you through the whole thing so that you get this bit right? Because like 5 morticians will read your book and we will all wince if it's wrong because we're that sort of people. And I'm like, please call me. So I wound up, wandering around back and forth in front of the local hardware store, going, okay, and how do you crush the teeth? Oh, fascinating. So, yeah.
You're really an asshole for going from the hyena story to a teeth story. Like, what did I do to you?
Oh, you're not into it. Oh, sorry. I forget you have a dental thing.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Natalie. Good to see you. Natalie is just followed, so good to see Natalie Metzger.
Hi, Natalie.
Illustrator for both John Scalzi and Chuck Wendig's latest illustrated books. Diana, I apologize. I hope you can hear me. I muted you because of the chainsaw, and now Meat says only you can unmute yourself. So I texted you, and I'm saying it right now. It's all in your hands, and I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, good. Yay.
Yeah, I actually headed inside because the chainsaws were coming closer and closer.
Oh,
so
that's frightening.
Well, there are many trees down, and they're finally starting to take care of the ones on the golf course. So, my God.
Anyways.
The tree cutters make a lot of money. So
Yes.
I was going to comment about teeth. It's like, because I know you love them.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm fine. Uh-oh. You went away.
Did we lose Diana?
It sounds like it.
To do with Hollanders.
Oh, no. You cut out there for a minute, Diana. Can you start over?
Yes. I'm going to start over about the teeth because I know you love that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I worked a crime scene once where there was a burned car out in the woods, and the only reason we knew that there was anybody, had anybody been in the car is because we found teeth, and so we had to literally sift through the entire ashes with a to find the teeth, and eventually did ID the person, but that was fun.
Yeah, Diana has a history in law enforcement and mortuary work, right?
Not mortuary, morgue.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I was a morgue assistant. I assisted on hundreds of autopsies, and I was a street cop, a detective, then a crime scene tech, did computer forensics. Yeah, fun times.
This is what makes her series, the White Trash Zombie series, so good, because you know that there's so much detail that's really, really useful in there. You can tell, when you can tell somebody's really has inside knowledge and who looked it up on Wikipedia. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Or who's just like, going by the seat of their pants. I read a book once where they talked about how they put the body in the freezer and then took it out to autopsy. It's like, nope, you can't autopsy you. You can't cut a frozen slab of meat. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, they're not freezers. They're fridges, and your meat will still rot in there. So autopsies have to be done in the next couple of days.
Okay.
The latest fluffy romance novel that I wrote, one of the characters one of the protagonists is is the medieval equivalent of a mortician or coroner rather, and so he's doing autopsies, and he's like, you get a couple of days down here in the cellar where it's cool, and then we have to bury them. We can't keep them cold enough.
Right.
So going back to the whole... Sorry, Ursula?
I said fluffy romance.
I love it.
Yes. Your romances usually stumble into the, oh, look, a severed head kind of thing.
Well, there are no... look, there's one severed head in this one. But it's not related to the previous severed head, so yay.
That's okay. I discovered that I try to put murder grannies in every book of mine, so I've just finally started to embrace it. And there is a murder granny in the upcoming book, Station Eternity, brought to you by Ace in 2022, October. Pre-order sometime in the future. Yeah.
I am told that my recurring thing is that there is always a very practical person and a helpful animal. And both of them will occur in Nettle and Bone in April 2021.
Yes, I'm reading that one now. Because I got the...
Oh, there is a tooth scene. I should warn you. When you're in the Goblin Market, there will be a brief tooth scene.
I know. I've gotten past the tooth scene. It's actually not nearly as bad as you could have made it. So...
No, I was trying to be nice.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, Joey. Ursula in the car. I can't do much to boost her audio. But that's what...
Sorry.
Yes. But, yeah. I'm pretty sure if you start talking about something that will make me cringe, then I'll just automatically, all the outside audio will go away and it'll come through crystal clear. Yeah, the Joe Hill story's great. It's great. Meeting him ever again, I have no idea what. I'm probably going to dig the hole and crawl into it before I ever say anything.
No, I'm telling you, I have given you the perfect opening to talk to Joe Hill forever. You walk up and you go, I'm the one with the friend who started telling you about hyena junk. I am so, so sorry. And there, conversation started.
Yeah, and he'll say, I remember. You're the ones I ran away from. But, yeah, it was very much, I think I have to go find my wife now, and then he left. This is Stephen King's son, people. We freaked him out.
No,
Or Ursula did. I can't.
About crocodile movies and bite strength, and had a lovely conversation, and then he ran away.
Yeah, he did recommend a book to me that I tried to read and was terrible, so I don't know what that says. I'm trying
So you're saying that if I ever meet Joe Hill, I should tell him about how testicles swell up when they're during decomposition?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Do they?
Yeah,
Oh,
they
no.
swell up like grapefruit. I got pics.
No.
I will share some pictures with you.
Know that.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Is it gases inside, or?
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, the whole body bloats up. And in fact, if you have one that's really bloated, when it comes in, what we used to do is we'd go up, cut, hold our breath, take a scalpel, kind of stick it in the stomach and run out until the gases kind of dissipate and, be sucked away and junk like that. But yeah, I might share the pictures I have of you with you of swollen, decomping testicles. It's epic.
It's interesting because that's actually how you deal with cows that have bloat. If the cow is ideally still alive, the bloat is a condition where the stomachs get filled. One of the multiple stomachs in the cow.
Yeah.
Gas. And there comes a point where there's nothing you can do except to vent the gas. So you basically stab the cow in the side with whatever you have on hand, I suppose, at the time. And then run like hell because the smell is decomposing cud, which is like one of the worst smells on earth. And this works on one kind of bloat, and the cow will usually survive if that's done, assuming that they have regular bloat, which is one gas bubble. If they have something called frothy bloat, which is multiple gas bubbles, then they're screwed and you've lost a cow. But anyway, so authors, we are fun people.
We are fun people. I just put in the chat that I put on a mustache because I realized Mer's not here anymore, Mrs. Torrance. And then I put a content warning that Ursula is going to say words. So I should have put that on earlier. I'm sorry, folks. Yeah.
Yes.
And then Diana and the testicles. It's just...
Testicles, so...
y'all are so awesome.
Bloat into a romance novel, but I should.
You're gonna try to put Okay, I challenge you.
Will.
Next romance gonna have testicle bloat. Give them a happy ever after.
We're in copy edit still. I can go put it back. I can put it in the one that comes out hopefully at the end of the month.
Which one is that?
This will be called Paladin's Hope.
Paladin's Hope.
It is Galen's novel, if anyone is interested. And yes, from T. Kingfisher, I'm hoping end of September. So yeah.
Okay, if I make a contribution to a charity that is close to your heart, will you mock me up a cover that's saying Paladin's Testicle Bloat?
You'll have to wait till I'm not driving, but I can probably do something, yes.
I'm not asking you to do it right this second, you're driving. But I'm saying, I would love to see that say Paladin's Testicle Bloat, and then I figured one way we could do that is give money to charity and make it worth your while.
If you agree to drop $50 or more to the Alongside Wildlife Foundation.
Alongside Wildlife?
Yes. Then absolutely. They're a great little group that does mini grants to scientists. So when it's I need $800 to do camera traps kind of thing. So they do mini grants direct, to the people who need them, who are studying how to live with wildlife and wildlife researchers, run by researchers. Great little group.
All right, I got their website, and I'm putting it in the chat if anybody else wants.
You can also support them on Patreon. I vouch for them. They're lovely.
Okay, I will do so. We'll be in touch when you're not driving and I'm not streaming, and we'll make that happen.
Oh, Ursula, I just DM'd you a picture. It's in the Slack. So don't be surprised when you open it up and go, oh, God damn. So,
Yeah,
although I don't think you would. I don't think you would do that. I think you'd be like, oh, cool. So, yeah.
Yeah, I will wait till I'm not driving so
that's probably
the attention it deserves. But
yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Apologies to new followers. Apologies to new followers because of various... I'm not getting targeted very much by the hate raids, but I have gotten a couple of people jump in, and since I have no moderator right now, I'm on followers only chat, so if you want to chat, you need to follow, and then you're in a 10-minute waiting period, and it's other people who won't let us have nice things, and I'm sorry, but Natalie's finally allowed to chat, and so she says hi, and having a curated scientist Twitter list is great, highly recommended.
Oh, 100%. And the problem is that it's an embarrassment of riches sometimes because, like people will start talking, and I'll be like, my God, there's like 5 books in this. Why has no one written a science fiction novel about this? Oh my God.
I tried to throw one of your bug facts into a romance I was attempting, and because it had no fantastical elements, I really did not get a good plot going. But I really did appreciate the bug stuff you found out for me, that you actually knew off the top of your head. So yeah, I can just say that either having a scientist Twitter following or having a friend who has a scientist Twitter following. But that reminds me, we were going to talk about friends as tools in the business, and now I can't remember why.
We had started having a conversation about editors we had known. And
yes.
had done. Yes, and
yes.
And then I think I said, well, you could talk about it would be cold-blooded to say that your friends are tools. But I mean, God knows they're helpful. Like, tools seem so cold, and like you shouldn't use them like tools because nobody likes to be used.
Yes, but
assets,
if you're
assets, with assets, you know.
yes, well,
assets. Yeah.
Assets, yes.
If you're friends, then there's an implied back and forth, caring exchange, favors, help, all that, and just because of you make friends with the people in your area of expertise. So we meet a lot of science fiction writers, but the reason why this came up was I will, of course, name no names, but there was one time when I was eager to talk to a new editor for a new project, and we were Ursula and I were at a convention together, and so she and my agent and myself and met with this editor over drinks, and I believe the editor was late, and they sat there for 10 minutes or so?
10 or 15.
10 or 15 minutes.
They bought us all drinks, which was nice.
Yes, they did buy the drinks, and the drinks were fancy. They were like the kind of drinks you don't want to make at home because you don't want to take that much time or effort. You just, yeah. But, so we sat around, and I tried to bring up, like, what I was working on, but they didn't seem interested, and then they're like, oh, right, I've got an important meeting, I gotta run, and then they, like, paid for another round of drinks and then left, and I'm like, that was a friendly meeting, wasn't it? That had nothing to do with my career. That was a waste of fucking time. And the thing was, I thought it was supposed to be a business meeting, and it never got to that. And
well, your agent thought it was too.
Yes.
So I think the failing was perhaps on the and I suspect it probably was supposed to be, and then the editor, who was a bit of a flake, may have kind of
yeah. So that's like.
Yeah.
That's where the whole friendly aspect might not work for you. It's not. It's like sometimes meeting is thought to be a
It's a hangout.
Yeah, it's a hangout.
Yeah.
And other times you know it's about business, or sometimes it's just to get to know you. But if you already know them, then that's a weird thing. If you have expectations and they are just wanting to hang out, it's awkward. And if we just hung out as sort of a get to know you better thing and it lasted longer than 10 minutes, then that would have also been okay. But it was just really infuriating that it also mattered that trip was not cheap. That was an expensive con, and it was an expensive city, and I went down there with the hope that I could make some connections and network and do some good things for my career, and none of that happened. So
frustrating.
Yeah. So it's you don't want to tell people you only want to use them because they're in your world, your professional world, but sometimes you do want something more to come of a conversation on a work trip. I don't know.
Yeah. It's all about like expectations, everybody being on the same page. I mean, I had a lovely meeting with an editor once where I, at the time, belonged to a different house, as it were.
Yeah.
And so we had like it was like some kind of spy shit. We had this clandestine meeting. Like, okay, is the editor that you report to at the other house, are they here? Okay, no. All right. We cannot legally say anything about... Look, we all knew that they wanted to poach me, more or less, and I kind of wanted to be poached, but because I, had right of first refusal at the house I was...
Uh-oh.
So we had a conversation that was them saying, me saying, so I like books, and them saying, yes, I too like books. And then, we look at each other, and I'm like, what kind of books do you like to read? I am very interested in this. What sort of books do you enjoy writing? Conveniently, I am also interested in this sort of thing.
That's awesome.
That was like the opposite. That was definitely a work meeting that we were trying very hard to pretend wasn't. And, yeah.
Yeah, I remember I ran interference for you for that meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was grateful. And I mean, it wasn't like nearly as big a deal as
No.
All that, and I did wind up leaving the house for entirely different reasons that, were mostly related to, a lot of other stuff we won't get into. But yeah, and I mean, I've had lovely meetings with people with editors who I knew in passing, who I did not have, or I knew online, who were like, yes, let us get together and talk. And I would go and have a lovely conversation, and then later on might realize that they had been feeling out whether I had any books I would send them, and would be like, oh, you needed to be a lot less subtle than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I had when 2 agents ago, I had, mine was not nearly so clandestine. It was actually very high school-like, because I met my previous agent, Jen, at a convention where I was already with another agent. And, we met, we hit it off, and apparently then she started going around to my friends asking if I was dating anybody. And, who I was represented by and all that stuff. And
represented by, not dating.
Yes, but that's what it felt. It felt like a whole high school thing is did that guy have a girlfriend or a boyfriend? Is he single? I want to know. But yeah, it was, I didn't find that out until later. And, yeah, it helped that I was pretty much already on the way out of my previous agent. So then I contacted her when I was looking. So it all worked out. And I finally had an agent who did awesome jobs. Yay.
I have had the opposite sort of experience where I know several agents on Twitter, of course, and at one point, I think it was Dong One, I was like, I would love to have coffee with you or something. I am happily agented. This is not me trying to get anything. I just would love to have coffee with you at a con or something. He's like, yes, it's cool. We both know we're not trying to poach each other. That's great. We can have coffee as friends, not as, clients.
It's funny, speaking of Dong Wan, I've had a conversation of, I said I feel guilty coming up to you at a bar and talking at a convention because I feel like I'm cock-blocking authors who are not represented and need really want to meet you. And Dong Wan just said, that's fine, you're my friend, you can sit and have a drink with me. So it was, I should reiterate that Ursula is not a model to follow. That is absolutely true. Nothing about Ursula's career is something you can follow. In fact, we made that the topic of the guest of honor interview at ReaderCon this year. It was virtual. I was asked to do the interview, and so I decided to take Ursula's career and try to use it as a roadmap to new writers. It did not go well, which was the point. I knew it would not go well.
Okay, go back to 1990 and start playing Muds.
Yeah, and there's also get your agent trapped in an elevator for an hour where they have no cell signal when your editor is desperate to cut a deal so they don't lose you. That's my favorite part of your career story.
It's been a thing, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, the short story is the can I tell the short story real quick?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Ursula was disagree. The publisher where she was selling well wanted to give her less money for her next book, and agents like no, and they wouldn't. She would not take that, and she's like, all right, we'll take you to another house. And Ursula's like, what? Okay, my new career is over now, I guess. And then I guess they told the editor, and then the editor calls up Ursula, and Ursula's like, I'm not allowed to talk to you. You have to talk to my agent. The editor's like, I can't get your agent on the phone. And the editor's freaking out, and you find out that the agent was not playing hardball. The agent was stuck in an elevator, but it upset the editor so much that, of course, they didn't want to lose her, and they gave her a bigger deal. So, if you ever find yourself in that position, you need to get your agent stuck in an elevator.
Or a trunk of a car probably works too.
Oh, yeah, Diana. Yeah. You are thinking outside the box, inside the trunk.
Inside the trunk.
Did I tell that story right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
That is what happened. I was going to say, what are other tools, since we're supposed to be talking about tools, of writing and...
business. I'll go ahead and say that, just to go back, that who said it? The Rhoda said networks are tools. It's like other friends, other writers are not necessarily the tools, but the network you build is a tool. And I'm going to say, also, you need communication as a tool, because if you have a communication thing, even if you're communicating that we are not going to talk about X, wink, wink, like Ursula did with the editor, it's still a good communication. Good thing to know everybody is on the same page. Look, book pun. I did it.
Yes, well done.
Oh, the road also adds, has to be an old car because my kid proved her cell works from the back of a new Civic. Do I want to know the story, or I don't know.
College, man. College.
Yeah.
Yeah. We locked a few people in trunks of cars in college, too. So.
Did you? So much I don't know about you, Diana. This doesn't surprise me, though.
There's no duct tape or tarps involved, at least.
No, of course not. No. Except for that one time, but that didn't count.
He deserved it.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that we're passing Quantico right now. So if there's anything, if you need me to stop in and pick up a serial killer, I think that's where I do it, or maybe a profiler.
I think you have to fill out an online form first to tick off exactly which qualities you want.
Really?
Now streamline the process, basically, Do you want creepy or suave? It matters when picking out a serial killer.
Almost all creepy. Suave is just something they do to sell, like, Netflix shows.
Yeah, yes, true.
99.9%, they're just creepy and sort of pathetic.
Yeah, I hear the guy who stars in the show You actually really hates it when people say good things about his character, because he's like, my character's a monster. You should not be appreciating my character. And I haven't seen You because it sounds like it's all stalking and obsession, and that's not entertainment for me. Oh, there's a good donut shop in Fredericksburg if you need it, just a bit off 95, says Octopus Gallery, Ursula. Ursula? Are you alive? Have I lost everybody? Suddenly feeling very alone here. Oh no. Oh, the meeting has ended. I see. Perhaps it ended because we were at an hour? I don't even know. Let's see. How can I fix this? We'll do a new meeting. Sorry about that, guys. I did not know that was a thing. Talk amongst yourselves. Actually, if you have any questions for Diana or Ursula, provided I can get them back, let me know. amongst yourselves. I panic when I do this, and when other streamers have to like stop and pay attention to something else. They seem to be so smooth, and I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna lose everybody right now. Yes, I'm getting texted. Okay. All right, new thing is sent. Yeah. Anyway, oh, thank you, everybody. And I did not say hello to folks, but, I appreciate everybody being here and hanging out. And I did find out that next week is when I'm going to have Matt and Gail Carriger with us. So that should work. Okay, I've told them both what's going on. Yeah, excited to have them both on and Matt back. We're still working on getting him on a regular schedule. Here we go. What do we got? Hey Diana, I am sorry. I think I was kept to an hour. Did not know that.
Oops.
And there's Ursula, yay! So I think we were kept to an hour and then knocked off. So I think that's what happened.
I'm back. Am I back?
Yes, you're back. Everybody dropped because the meeting ended. I think it was because it was an hour long, and I did not know that was the limit.
Oh, gotcha.
Bastards.
So yeah, I did bring up to people to come up with questions for us, and unless you wanted to finish your thought, Ursula, I can't remember what it was. But
I think it was just about serial killers, but we're past Quantico now, so the moment is past.
Oh darn. Okay. Cinema asked, what point in your career did you start attending cons to network?
For me, it was I was definitely a baby writer. This was about the time, I think, right after I went to Clarion West, which was 23 years ago. I went to my first Worldcon. No, wait, I did that before that. So yeah, before Clarion. But yeah, so maybe like 25 years ago, when I was still very much a wannabe and had no clue what I was doing. But I met some great people, and I think that's how I found out about Clarion. So it's been a long time, and I'm old. I've forgotten many things. So
I never attend cons to network. Networking happens in spite of myself.
Yeah, everybody wants to hang out with Ursula, and she doesn't know why. I mean, am I wrong?
Well, I certainly don't know why. I don't think everyone does. I occasionally very nice people that I know online are like, let's get together, and then they are Teresa Nielsen Hayden or something. But like, I knew her from a blog thing, and we had hung out virtually. So yeah, you meet nice people, and then.
Oh no, you had me at hyena clitoris. So.
That's how I get you.
Mm-hmm.
Hang out with Ursula for the weird stories, both the ones she tells and the ones you get as a result.
Exactly. Ursula is a weird magnet. Definitely.
That's why you wanted me to go to New Orleans with you, because you knew strange things would happen.
And they did. And they did. Yeah.
It's true.
I totally forgot about that guy. Eddie was always ready.
Yes.
Yeah, you reminded me.
7 languages, and
yeah.
I played the ocarina and was telling us about how his father or his uncle was the voodoo mafia or something.
Yes. I just can't believe I forgot entirely. Like, now I can remember where we were and how he would just always call himself Eddie. Eddie's always ready.
We went in to book the Swamp Boat tour, I think, and he
yes.
was the guy who was working there, and he had just finished writing a poem in honor of Obama being reelected, which happened while we were driving. Like, they were counting votes when we parked to get the hotel room, and then we went to the bar, and he had won. And
Yeah, that was exciting because it was
Rowland was throwing a fit.
there weren't a lot of other people there, so we were just sitting at the bar watching Ken Starr, was it? Running down the hall?
I think it was Carl Rove.
Carl Rove.
Like,
Yeah.
being like, no, we are, take me to the people. So, like, the camera's like, okay. And they follow him to the back room. And the statisticians are like, no, dude, it's over. And he's like, how can you, no, dude, it's over.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
That was a good time.
The only other thing I remember about that is that my drink was garnished with a piece of sugar cane. It looked like swamp water.
You remember the greatest things? I just remember the drunk guys during the vampire tour and you yelling at them.
Yes.
You shamed them. It was great. Because we were drunk and we were just perfectly fine and able to be out in public.
Yes. The big problem with cruising the French Quarter is that, and Diana's probably laughing.
The urine smell? The barf smell?
No, it's that there are no public restrooms, so in order to use the restroom at a bar, you have to order something at the bar.
Hence the urine smell.
Well, yeah, there was a smell, but whatever. So I kept ordering the least alcoholic thing I could think of, which was a mimosa. So I had drunk about 10 mimosas at that point, because once you drink alcohol, you have to pee again, and I have a very small bladder anyway. So it was like I would go to a bar, use the bathroom, get an alcoholic beverage so that I could use the bathroom, and yeah, it...
Well, there's a song. There's a song about peeing in Mardi Gras, because Mardi Gras, of course, there's a lot of people, and you still have to buy something, and just anyway, if y'all want, I'll sing the song about Mardi Gras and urination.
I don't think I've had enough to drink.
It's not bad.
It's a song about urinating in Mardi Gras. It's not bad.
It's not. It's funny. Like, okay, ain't no place to pee on Mardi Gras Day. Ain't no place to pee on Mardi Gras Day. They're peeing on the balconies. They're peeing down on you and me's. No place to pee on Mardi Gras Day. There you go. That is in your head now. You are welcome.
I feel richer for having this experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're definitely richer. I was going to answer the con networking comment, a question, and now I don't even have the will to live.
It's gone, right?
Yeah. I started going to cons first as a fan, and then once I started working at a computer game company, people seemed to want to put people who worked at computer game companies on panels, like at Dragon Con, and because I was the rare unicorn of a woman working at a computer game company in 1998, I got put on panels there. So I started networking as a computer gamer and then as a podcaster. And so, I remember at one point I was at Balticon as a podcast guest, just dreaming of the day I would stop being put on Podcast 101 panels and start being put on fiction panels. So that was a good day when it came, but it was that's how my networking started. One thing I don't know if I've even talked about that on this show, but one thing I did not realize was that when I started I Should Be Writing, I was networking accidentally, because I started the show as a podcast by a wannabe writer for wannabe writers, but I wanted to interview experts just, because I couldn't promise that I knew everything. And so I discovered that if you have a little bit of false confidence and just pretend you know what you're doing, authors love to talk about themselves. So they were... I got turned down for maybe 2 or 3 interviews in those first few years. Everybody said yes. If I could find them at a con, they said yes. And suddenly I knew a whole bunch of writers. And because editors had paid attention when when their authors were on my show, I suddenly knew a whole bunch of editors too. And that was hugely unexpected. So I kind of stumbled into the whole networking thing just by wanting to have writers on my podcast.
And that's the thing. I think it's very hard to tell people how to network, because it is a largely organic process. Like, I know there are people who go into the thing going, I'm going to network, and maybe some of those people are successful, but I don't know how. It's it's like every now and again a meme or something, not a meme, but a thing will go around, be wary of people who just want to use you as a stepping stone in their career. And that's great advice, except for the bit that I don't know how anybody would use me as a stepping stone in their career. Like, I mean, if they can figure out how, more power to them.
Right.
I don't know. It's not like you can go up to an editor and say, hey, I've had drinks with Ursula Vernon. Give me a book deal. Like, they'll be like, yeah, you and half the known world. Did you talk about hyena genitals? So, yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I think it's more important to tell people what not to do, which is don't let shyness win, because if you don't want to say networking, you want to say meeting other people in your professional field, or meeting people who work in the field you want to work in. I mean,
interacting, basically. I mean, the best way to get benefit out of going to conventions is by making friends.
Yes.
Because the people that we get all our advice from and stuff like that are the people we have made friends with. So if you go in there with this, I'm going to network, first off, people can sense that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, yeah. It's like, no, just don't. Just go in there and it's like, hey, I'm having fun. You don't even have to say what you're writing, because people know you're a writer.
Yeah.
I mean, you have that air, you have that funk about you, that desperate glaze to the eyes. So, but go in and just be cool.
The smell of printer ink and despair.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Don't act desperate. Don't be a jerk. Make sure that you come across well. Tip the bartender, tip people, in the restaurant, stuff like that. And that's one of the biggest things, is be a person that people want to hang out with. You don't have to have absolute social skills, because most people don't. I mean, honestly, not in this industry. But it's like the whole thing, don't be a dick. Yeah. So, but yeah, the basics of social kindliness, tipping, saying thank you, not yelling at anybody, don't be a jerk, and, understand that everyone there, even the pros, are like, oh my God, everyone hates me at some point. It's true.
Yeah.
I think one of the things is be genuinely interested in other people.
Yes.
Other people are fascinating. Like, not necessarily other people's writing, because when writers get together, very few of us actually sit and talk seriously about the craft of writing. We talk about, how your testicles swell up on the morgue slab.
Thank you. Right?
And,
yes.
Hyena genitals. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, when we talk shop, it's like, oh God, I have to do another set of revisions for the guys at Publisher X. Oh Jesus, is Publisher X doing that again? That sucks. Can you tell them to go to hell?
Yeah.
Like, that's as far as we go. It's not like, we're usually in there speaking. This isn't the Algonquin Round Table. We're not talking about our craft.
Yeah.
We're talking about taxes and contracts.
Sometimes it's I'm looking to go to a new house. You're with X. What can you tell me about how they are to work with? Things like that. But
if you're a new writer, one of the best ways to kind of insert is you ask the other person about themselves. Say, hey, where are you from?
Yeah.
Is there something cool about you? What kind of work did you do before becoming a writer? Blah, blah, blah. Or are you still doing it? And people love talking about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone loves talking about themselves. And it's even better when someone asks you to talk about themselves.
You don't just volunteer it.
Then you don't feel like, oh, I'm dominating the conversation. It's like, and also if someone asks you about yourself, you can talk about yourself, but then have a little mental clock. It's like, okay, I've talked about myself for a lot, and then turn around. It's like, well, what about your thoughts on such and such? I mean, that's one of those things I try and keep in mind a lot is ask the other person, and that's how you make friends.
Yeah, and I know that this. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, we are for the most part a group of total geeks.
Oh yeah.
So there is always some topic that they will love to geek out about. Like I was at a bar with Kevin Hearn where we were both at a con. We did not talk about writing. We did not talk about the perils of the profession. We talked about fonts and font ligatures and got super excited about swashes and things. There are people who find the other person's passion. It's usually not very far below the surface.
Yeah.
And I have had, if you go to cons as a guest of honor fairly regularly, people will pick you up. You get usually a handler that comes and picks you up. And I have had some just fascinating conversations with those people. Like one at Bubonicon, I was like, so what do you do? And they were they restored fabrics for the museum. They worked at a museum, and they would get like these ancient fabrics, and they would have to figure out how to preserve and restore them. And this is fascinating stuff. I'm like, really? Okay, tell me what sort of things do you do? Like, just like a lot of modern detergents are super harsh. You can't just wash you can't just throw an ancient Seminole blanket into the wash on hot water and permanent press. And I was fascinated. I was like peppering them with questions all through lunch, and I am sure they remember me as the freak who interrogated them about their job, but
we do have a comment in chat, a really good point from Triffid, saying, where are you from can be tricky, though. For instance, if you ask an Asian American, that they get a lot of people assuming they're not from around here. So, yeah, keep that in mind.
A good point. Yeah, good point.
I think it is probably a safer thing at cons because it is assumed that no one will be from there. So you can say, are you local or whatever.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I do want to point out, this is almost always asked. I don't know if I feel like I talk about it a lot, but it keeps being asked. But you do not need to drink to hang out at a convention bar. Yes. There are so many people who really work it up in their heads that they don't, like they're going to be called out or judged or made fun of. I mean, we have a lot of Mormons in science fiction. And they hang out at the bar just fine. John Scalzi does not drink. He just doesn't do it. I know a couple of other people, I'm not sure.
About looking conspicuous, go to ginger ale.
Yeah, but if someone offers to buy you a drink and you say, I'd like a sparkling water, they're not going to go, oh, come on. And if they are, they're dicks.
Yes.
Because you could be doing it for your health, you could be a recovering alcoholic, you could just be drunk enough and don't want any more. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons you could not want to drink, and you don't need to justify it to them at all. So, really...
And I have never had anyone try to pressure me to have a drink. Like, the most I will get is if I order something non-alcoholic, because I've had enough. They'll be like, you sure? Okay. And then, that's the extent of it. No, you can absolutely, positively be dead sober.
Yeah, they might think that what they want, they might think that the drink you want is, like, too expensive or something. And that's why they say, are you sure? I'd love to buy you that single malt if you want it, kind of thing. But if you're just sure you want a soda, just ask. It's not a big deal. It's the bar con is the major networking area. And I know a lot of people who let the alcohol problem hold them back, and you really don't need to. And, if your funds allow for it, you can also buy a round, get whatever the hell you want, and buy a pitcher of beer or a bottle of wine for the rest of the table. And, that works too. You do not need to drink ever. Do not feel that you should have to drink.
What she said.
Yeah.
At room parties and whatnot, there will always be coolers full of soda and water and whatnot. And so, you do not have to worry about that. And nobody is going to be like, oh my God, you non-drinker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more likely you'll be hurt in the opposite direction. If you're a lightweight, don't drink or don't drink a lot. Know what your tolerance is, because I've known a few people who've made not great first impressions or even second, third, fourth impressions because they got really loaded and it was like, okay, so that's who you are underneath kind of thing.
Yeah.
So much better to stick with one or, maybe 1.5 kind of thing. Like, definitely know your limits.
Yeah, definitely. We also have deodorant cannot be emphasized enough. Yes.
Oh God, yes. And shower every day, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basic hygiene things. But I've held you guys for like an hour and a half, and I'm very sorry. Yeah. But if you want any more, we should probably. The words just left. Wow. Okay, we should probably wind down. If you have any questions for our awesome guests, say them in the chat now. I just want to thank both of you for being so up for hanging out at a moment's notice and being on the stream and helping me do this show. I've put, of course, it was several lines up. I'll see if I can get that. But you should check out both of these amazing writers' books because they're very, very, very talented. There they are. Haha, I found it. So, Diana, you want to tell us where you can find you online?
DianaRowland.com is the easiest one. But the website has not been updated lately. I'm on Twitter, Diana Rowland, and I'm on Facebook. I have a personal page and then a fan page, but I don't really do much with the fan page. Also, I have the Christmas Dragons, and the Washington Post says I'm a hero for our times.
Oh, that's right. You are a hero for our times.
Yeah,
you want to tell the dragon story?
Yeah, I have these inflatable dragons that we've been putting up for Halloween for years, and we take them down after Halloween, and then we put them back up for Christmas, and we decorate them for Christmas. And in 2018, I got an anonymous letter from a neighbor saying, your dragons are inappropriate for Christmas. It makes people think that you're part of a demonic cult. And I'm saying, well, yeah.
I've seen the pictures. These are not demonic dragons. They're puffy.
Yeah, and so I said, so I considered the last line was please consider removing them. So I considered and then added 2 more. And I posted pictures, and it went mega viral. I mean, not just viral, but mega viral. I had CNN, I had MSNBC, I had BuzzFeed, New York Times, Washington Post. I did a couple of TV interviews, and Jimmy Fallon mentioned the dragons in his monologue.
Wow.
That is the viral thing. Yeah, that's viral. It was a terrifying week. I also learned that when you're being interviewed on TV, don't be someplace where the lighting is right overhead, especially when you're in your 50s, because, I was interviewed in my house in the hallway where there's overhead lighting, and when it cut back to the anchor, she could be the mother of dragon's mother. It's like, oh. Yeah, and then she caught herself and said, or maybe her sister. It's like, it's too late.
No.
I am old enough to be Amelia Clark's mother, but that's beside the point. So, yeah. It's like, oh, God, I'm a hag. So I learned that lesson. You want in-front lighting. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Ursula, you want to tell us where to find you?
Let's see. My website is redwombatstudio.com. And that has links to, where to get all the books and stuff. If you want up-to-date my life, that sort of thing, I live on Twitter. I'm Ursula V, URSULAV. That is certainly the easiest way to find me because, I post a gazillion times a day. And, That's about it. I don't have any cool dragon stories, sorry.
You have hyena stories. No.
My blog is the first hit if you Google lawn crayfish. So
lawn crayfish.
The crayfish that live in lawns. People don't realize that burrowing crayfish live in people's lawns. And so while I don't get mega viral, every spring when people start noticing there are lawn crayfish, someone does a news story on it, and they will just Google the thing, find my blog, email, and ask if they can call and interview me. So I've done a couple of things about a species I know virtually nothing about except they live in people's lawns.
Okay, I'm really baffled by the fact that people don't know about crawfish living in your lawns, but of course I'm from Louisiana, so.
Yes,
well,
exactly.
That's the thing, there is this huge steep divide. When I first saw one, there was a hole, and I was all, what is in the hole? And I look down and I see a claw, and I am like, that is a crustacean. What the ever-loving fuck? Why is there a crustacean in my lawn?
What, do they build the chimneys up there?
Flower bed. And in North Carolina, and I asked Kevin, he's like, maybe it's a crayfish. And I'm like, well, what do you mean, crayfish in the flower bed? And he's like, yeah, lawn crayfish. So then I went around and started asking random strangers, went to the farmer's market and just started interrogating people. Do you know about the existence of lawn crayfish?
It sounds like you're asking if they have been saved by Jesus.
There's this vast divide between people who are like, are you on crack? There is no such thing as a lawn crayfish. And people going, yeah, obviously. And I realized the problem is if you know they exist, they are so obvious. It's like you never go up to somebody and say, hey, are you aware of the existence of squirrels? You just assume they so nobody is talking about the existence of lawn crayfish because if you know they're there, they're like squirrels, so you don't mention it. And yeah.
Okay, I can only assume that they don't build chimneys up there because here they build these like mud chimneys. It's like these tall little, piles of mud, and the hole is there.
Those are devil crayfish, and they're incidentally found as far north as Michigan. That some build the little chimneys, some just have like a little muddy porch. And yeah, so go figure.
Huh. All right.
So lawn crayfish exist, and you can find more about them at Ursula's site. Thank you both very much. Really appreciate it. We're gonna raid Space Valkyries in a minute. The hashtag #merraid if you want to stick around for the raid. Space Valkyries is a wonderful person with a wonderful community. I am Mer Lafferty. This is Ditch Diggers. I'll be back next week with Matt Wallace and Gail Carragher. I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/Merverse. My website... No, wait. I fuck this up all the time. On Twitch, it's Mighty Mer. My website is Merverse, which I should just register Mighty Mer and make that it. Then I won't mess it up.
There you go.
MightyMer@gmail.com is also how to find me. I'm Mighty Mer on Twitter. And, yeah, that is it. Thanks.
Website, another important tool of the writer.
Yes. And you can start it anytime. A lot of people wonder when they're allowed or should start it. Start it anytime, whenever you want. We'll talk about that another time. Again, Diana Rowland and Ursula Vernon, aka Team Kingfisher. Thank you guys so much for being on. And thanks to my Patreon supporters and my subscribers. You can support us at patreon.com/mightymer.
Ditch Diggers!
Theme song by Devo Spice, devospice.com.